The mechanics of power. Level 1. The reactive mind. The monkey and the deer metaphor. Architected through Phantom Sigma. Chapter 1. The monkey. Think about your morning. Not the version you described to someone else. The actual one. What was the first thing you reached for? Before your body was fully awake, before a single thought had formed, your hand already moved, and whatever was on that screen pulled you in. A message, a number, a notification that didn't matter. And just like that, the day was no longer yours. You didn't decide to start there. You were already inside it. Now think about the last time someone interrupted you mid-task. Did you finish what you were doing first? Or did you look up? Think about the last conversation where someone raised their voice slightly. Did you stay grounded? Or did your body tighten before your mind even registered why? Think about the last time you felt genuinely behind. Not because you lacked time, but because your attention had been everywhere and nowhere long enough to build anything. This is not who you are. This is what is running you. There is an animal that lives inside reactive behavior. It has no territory, no direction, no strategy. It survives entirely on stimulus. The monkey. It moves through noise the way most people move through their days. Something shifts. It reacts. Something sounds. It looks. Something moves at the edge of its vision. It follows, not because the signal matters, but because the monkey cannot distinguish between what matters and what moves. To the monkey, movement is information. Noise is data. Interruption is priority. It stays busy and builds nothing. From the outside, the monkey looks active. It looks engaged. It looks like it's participating. But activity is not output. Motion is not direction. Reaction is not decision. The monkey spends its entire energy staying current with a feed it did not create and cannot control. It is always one signal behind, always adjusting to something that already moved. And because it is always adjusting, it never arrives anywhere. This is the trap. Not laziness, not failure. Distraction with the texture of effort. If this feels familiar, it is because you are not observing the monkey. You are operating as it. Now here is the layer most people never reach. The noise is not accidental. Every system, social, digital, professional, political, produces signal, and the ones who understand how attention works do not leave that signal to chance. They engineer it. Urgency is created. Interruption is designed. Scarcity is manufactured. Not to inform you, to move you. Because a person in reaction is a person without independent direction, and a person without independent direction can be positioned. This is not conspiracy. This is mechanics. The most effective form of influence over another person is not force. Force creates resistance. The most effective form of influence is fragmentation. Divide the attention, sustain the noise, maintain enough urgency that the target never enters the state where clear thought becomes possible. And then step into that gap with a direction, an offer, a frame, and the fragmented mind reaches for it, not because it was convinced, because it was tired. The monkey is not the problem. The monkey is the product. Wherever you find reactive behavior at scale, you find someone who benefits from it. Markets benefit from it. Platforms benefit from it. Political structures benefit from it. The crowd that cannot focus, cannot organize independently, the person who cannot sit in silence, will fill that silence with whatever is offered. And the ones who remain still, who do not enter the noise, who observe the pattern without becoming part of it, those are the ones who see the whole board. This is the first thing to understand about power. Not strategy, not aggression, attention. Where a person's attention goes, their behavior follows. Where behavior goes consistently, outcomes form. Control the attention, and you do not need to control the person. The person controls themselves in the direction you established, without knowing it. So the question is not, how do I get more focused? That is a productivity question. The real question is structural. Who benefits when your attention fragments? What is sustained by your reaction? What disappears? The moment you stop responding. Because the monkey has no power of its own. It only has the power you give it. The moment you withdraw attention, the whole mechanism collapses. The noise escalates. Because silence exposes it. The urgency intensifies, because stillness breaks the cycle. But if you hold, if you observe rather than react, Something shifts, your breath steadies, your perception widens. The noise is still there, but you are no longer inside it. You are watching it, and the moment you can watch it, you can read it, and the moment you can read it, you are no longer a target. The monkey will always be there. The system will always feed it. The only variable left is you. Phantom Sigma, the mechanics of power. Chapter 2, the deer. The monkey never stops moving. It reacts to everything, produces nothing, and stays completely convinced that all of that motion means something. That instinct is loud, visible, easy to identify once you know what you're looking at. But not every instinct looks like chaos. Some of them are quiet, controlled, reasonable. Some of them look like wisdom, and those are the ones that are hardest to break because the monkey is low level. Everyone can see it eventually. The deer is respected because it behaves in a way that never disrupts the environment. It doesn't create tension. It doesn't force decisions. It doesn't move unless it feels safe. And environments reward that. They call it patience, discipline, emotional maturity. The deer gets promoted, gets praised, gets told it is handling things well, while it builds nothing. That is not a coincidence. That is the system working exactly as designed. Think about the last conversation you avoided. Not because you didn't know what to say. You knew exactly what to say. You knew the sentence. You knew where it would land. You knew what would change if you said it. And you also knew there would be a reaction, a shift, a consequence, a moment you would have to hold, and that is where the body made the decision, not your thinking. Your system measured the cost and tightened. Breath changed, posture shifted, energy pulled back, and the decision was already made before the thought arrived. Then your mind explained it. Timing, context, not now. But it wasn't timing, it was threat, and you dressed it up and handed it back to yourself as strategy. This is not indecision. You are not confused, you are calibrated. To avoid the moment that would change your position, there is an animal built entirely around one response. Not aggression, not dominance. Survival in the presence of threat. The deer, and it is not weak. It is precisely engineered for the environment it evolved inside. The moment danger enters, the deer does not panic, it freezes. Every sense sharpens. Movement stops. It becomes as still as possible and reads the threat in open territory. This works. Stillness saves its life, but the threat does not need to be real. It only needs to be felt. And this is where the mechanism becomes something else entirely. Because frozen looks almost identical to patient. From the outside, the deer appears to be waiting for the right moment. But the right moment never feels right. Because the instinct is not reading the moment. It is reading the feeling of threat. And as long as that feeling is present, the signal says, stay still. The deer in the headlights does not freeze because it is broken. It freezes because the system that was built to protect it in open territory is now running on a road. You feel this as hesitation, as research that never converts to action, as preparation that never becomes execution, as awareness of the risk without movement toward the outcome. And the instinct does not call it fear, it calls it caution, responsibility, not being reckless, and that is what makes it invisible, because caution is a virtue. So the freeze disguises itself as judgment, self-betrayal dressed as intelligence, and the stillness continues. Every system that benefits from compliance understands this. You do not need to harm the deer. You only need to remove certainty. Keep the consequences vague. Keep the rules shifting. Keep enough ambient pressure in the environment that independent movement feels dangerous. And the deer will manage itself. It will not need to be stopped. It will stop and wait. And the longer it waits, the more the waiting feels like wisdom. This is the most efficient form of control ever constructed, not punishment, uncertainty, because punishment has a shape, a size, a limit. When the predator leaves, the threat passes, motion returns, but uncertainty has no edge, no signal that says the danger is gone, no moment where the instinct releases. Because the threat was never concrete, so the deer remains frozen, inside a danger it cannot locate, and therefore cannot leave. A person in that state is not controlled by force. They are contained by their own caution, and they will defend that caution as their own judgment. The monkey gets used through noise, The deer gets used through silence, through the space between pressures that is just uncomfortable enough to prevent motion. Both are managed without force. Both believe they are responding accurately to reality. Neither is directing their own behavior. The deer survives. It avoids immediate harm. It moves through the environment without confrontation. It stays alive. But it does not build territory. It does not hold ground. It does not compound anything over time. It survives, and in a system designed to produce manageable behavior. Survival is exactly the outcome that benefits everyone, except the deer. So ask yourself something directly. Where in your own life are you still calling it timing, when the body already made the decision months ago? Where are you calling it patience, when what you mean is, I measured the cost and I pulled back? Because the deer does not experience avoidance as weakness. It experiences it as responsibility. It has an explanation for everything it has not done, and every explanation is reasonable, and the territory stays exactly the same. Stillness is not the problem. Unconscious stillness is. The deer freezes because it feels something. The operator stays still because it sees something. One waits for safety. The other moves and lets the environment adjust. The mechanics of power, architected through Phantom Sigma. Level 1, Chapter 3, The Zebra. You are not who you think you are, not entirely. The version of you that walks into a room, speaks with a certain tone, holds certain opinions, moves in a certain direction, was not built from the inside out. It was assembled from observation, from absorption, from years of reading environments and adjusting toward what they rewarded. You did not choose most of it. You inherited it from the rooms you survived in. And the most precise thing that can be said about it is this: you do not know where you end, and the pattern begins. Look at what you are wearing today. Look at how you spoke in the last meeting. Look at the direction your career is moving. Now notice how much of that was already decided for you, not by force, not by instruction, not by anyone telling you what to do, by the environment reading you and you reading it back, and the gap between you and what surrounded you quietly closing until there was no gap, until you were the environment and called it identity. Most people never even ask that question because the copying is so seamless, so frictionless, so indistinguishable from actual choice that by the time the behavior is running, it already feels like theirs. There is an animal built entirely around this mechanism. Not fear, not aggression, not strategy, sameness. The zebra, watch a herd move across open ground. No leader, no direction chosen, no individual assessment of where to go. The herd shifts. Every zebra shifts with it. Not because the direction was evaluated, because the herd moved. The zebra's survival is not built on being faster or stronger than what hunts it. It is built on being indistinguishable from what surrounds it. The stripes are not decoration. They are camouflage within the group. Stand out and you become visible. Become visible and you become a target. So the zebra does not stand out. It matches, it blends. It moves when others move. And it survives, but it never goes anywhere the herd doesn't go. And here is what the zebra never considers. The herd is being moved, not by the zebra, not by any zebra, by whoever controls the direction of the field. The zebra thinks it is surviving. It is being steered. Think about the last time you changed how you spoke, depending on who was in the room, not the words, the tone, the pace, the level of certainty in your voice. You adjusted it before you decided to. You felt it in your body first. A contraction, a calibration, a small internal movement toward what the room would accept. Think about the last time you held back an original idea because the environment wasn't ready for it, or because no one else was doing it, or because the risk of being different felt larger than the cost of staying the same. No one stopped you. The environment was enough. The herd did not need to threaten you. It only needed to move. And you felt the pull, and you followed. Before you had decided to, watch what happens in the moment an original thought appears. It surfaces, clear, distinct, yours. And then something else happens. Before you speak it, before you commit to it, a question forms. How will this land? Is anyone else doing this? What happens if it doesn't work? And the thought adjusts, pulled back toward what the environment will accept. You did not decide to adjust. The adjustment happened. And what came out was a version of the original thought, that the room could receive without friction. That is not editing. That is erasure. The original thought, the one that was actually yours, never entered the room. A safer version did, and the original disappeared. This happens every time, in every room, at every level, without ever announcing itself as what it is. The mechanism beneath this is not social pressure. Social pressure you can feel. Social pressure has a source. Social pressure can be identified and resisted. This is older than that. This is herd logic. The pattern reads difference as risk. Before the mind has time to evaluate whether the difference is actually valuable. And while the mind is still evaluating, the body has already adjusted. The thought is already softer. The position is already safer. The version of you that entered the room is already more acceptable than the one that was coming. The herd does not need to threaten you. It only needs to exist. And you will do the rest. The system does not reward original thinking. It rewards legibility. A person who is easy to read is easy to predict. A person who is easy to predict is easy to direct. And the system does not promote the zebra because it is exceptional. It promotes the zebra because the zebra does not disrupt the conditions that keep the system producing. Every reward you received for being a team player, for reading the room, for being emotionally intelligent, for knowing when to push and when to hold back, was the system identifying a useful pattern and reinforcing it. You were not being appreciated. You were being cultivated. There is a difference, and the difference is that one of them ends when you are no longer useful. Here is the part most people cannot face. The zebra does not experience this as captivity. There is no friction, no resistance, no moment where something feels wrong, because the pattern is frictionless. The environment approves, the group validates, the feedback is positive, and so the behavior continues until it becomes identity. You feel it in your body as certainty, not a strategy being used, a self being described. This is just how I operate. This is just my style. This is just who I am. And by the time it is experienced as identity, it is completely invisible as pattern. The original thought that never entered the room. The direction that was never chosen. The self that was assembled from signals that were never yours and called authentic. If you always fit, you never lead. If you always fit, you are not needed. You are interchangeable. A function, not a person who has built something, but a shape that fits a space that would be filled by the next available shape. If you were removed tomorrow, and the system would not pause, it would not even notice the replacement, because the shape was never yours. It was the space's. Some people see this, not many, and the ones who see it do not rebel. They do not perform. They do not differentiate deliberately. They simply stop using the environment as the reference point for who they are. They stop asking what the room will accept before they decide what to say. They stop waiting for proof before committing to what they already know. That is not strength. That is not courage. It is something quieter and more dangerous than both. It is the decision to find out what is actually there when the herd is no longer providing the answer. The zebra does not know it is following. It knows it is surviving. It knows the herd is moving. It knows that moving with the herd has always produced safety. And it has never once asked where the herd is going, or who is moving it, or what happens to the ones who arrive at the destination and realize it was never theirs. If you need the group to know where to go, you do not have direction. You have permission, and permission can be revoked